Hello, and welcome to webinar number 2 of Don't Buy It, Build It. Ned Malky, and in today's masterclass, we're actually going to do a live build. Last week's webinar was more of a primer to help you understand the SaaS apocalypse that we are in, that the concept of actually subscribing or even getting LTDs to SaaS or software really is likely not in your best interest anymore. The AI industry is moving like a freight train, and if you don't catch up with what's going on, that means your skills as well and your knowledge and know-how on what to do in such altering moments. We are in one that is almost equivalent, if not bigger than the Industrial Revolution, then you are likely going to get left behind. So in the first webinar, we talked about the SaaS apocalypse, $2 trillion wiped off of the stock market. We also looked at OpenClaw. We covered Claude from top to bottom, chat, Cowork, code, MCP, the whole 9 yards. If you missed it, the link is in the description, and you could also find it at the end of this video as one of the suggestion cards. Highly recommend you check it out. If you are coming in from the no-code space, you're a coach, instructor, consultant, and you were running or still running your business on legacy GPTs, the time is up. It's time to build your own software and actually ship systems for yourself that will do you a favor and help you tame the chaos in your head. So this is where this comes in. At the end of the last session, I said that if you feel overwhelmed by ideas and you're not sure where to start, then this webinar is actually going to fix that. So here we are. A lot of us have ideas in our notes, whether it's Apple Notes or tasks in Microsoft To Do, some stuff in Google Keep here and there, or meetings on Google Drive, or if you're like me and still love the old to-do pad using your legacy, then you're kind of in the same position as I am, or was before I discovered what I'm going to teach you guys today. This system is going to change your life. It did for me. I mentioned that last time. I cut a huge part of the video out actually because I was maybe a little bit too excited. Believe me, the elated feeling, the elevated feeling that you get when you remove a lot of this weight off of your shoulders in terms of scattered notes and just this massive headache of not knowing where to start. I mean, you see comments from people in the industry, like people who've been in the industry for decades. They open up their computer sometimes, they say they don't know where to start because there's just an information overload. So this is about to end, and I'm really glad you guys are here because I feel like a lot of you, I know that a lot of you, besides the clients or friends and family who I've implemented this for, this is going to really take a lot of that burden off of your shoulders. So I was scattered across more than 5 apps, and I couldn't find anything. And then I started using Claude Cowork. So what I did here was I tried to migrate my Claude chat, just basic plain old Claude chat, which, I migrated my chat GPT to Claude. When I ditched chat GPT and went over to Claude, I migrated everything to Cowork. And if you've already used Cowork, you already know that it wants you to create a local folder. So after you create this, it's going to actually start storing markdown files for you. It's a great tool, but I noticed that VM or virtual machine from Claude kept on crashing. This crashed a lot on me, and I just kind of noticed really quick that Cowork is not going to cut it out for me. So I needed something a little bit more visual. I needed a database that I can share all across applications. And if I ever started using OpenClaw properly, or even the new version or my version of OpenClaw, which is built on Claude Code, and I share that inside of the PPA community, by the way, if you want access to that on the VIP tier, go ahead and join PPA, and then you can access the repo there and follow along to the video where I show you how to build it. I needed something that I can connect, right? So it's not just going to be the local folder. I needed to store and organize things properly and correctly, and then be able to interact with it in one way or another. And that, to me, was Obsidian. And that's what we're going to build today. So what is Obsidian? Obsidian is a free and local first note-taking application. It's not a SaaS, and it's not cloud locked. It's a folder, essentially, that lives on your computer with markdown files. Some of the best thinkers and creators out there already use it or have been using it for years. Tons of developers, knowledge workers, writers, and it's got a massive community. It's how organized people stay organized. So why markdown files? Because Claude Code reads and writes markdown natively. Your vault is Claude's context in this case. No API, no database, no integration needed. It just reads the files. Think of Obsidian as your digital brain, and Claude Code is the agent layer on top of it. Now, what does this mean? Claude Code is how you interface with your vault, with your data and your digital brain. You talk to Claude. Claude reads your vault, and it can brainstorm with you in real time, which is the most important thing here, using your data, your ideas, and your context. But here's what makes this different from just a chatbot, because Claude is Claude. And because it has all the technical ability, you can go from brainstorming to actually building. You come up with an idea, you flesh it out, and then it's execution time. It's really that simple. Claude can start building it right there. Same session, same context. And you can tell it which local file you want to use. You can go to a GitHub repo, clone something, blend ideas together, extract information, conduct research, you name it, your imagination is the limit. This is literally how I put together today's webinar and last week's webinar, how I put together the courses for PPA and any content that I publish out there. I put my notes in the vault from last week, and I started talking about what I want to cover. I conducted some research. I asked Claude to pull the notes up, and we built on top of them. I said, give me the talking points. Let me know if you have any questions. Claude organizes everything, and now I know exactly what I want to say. The most important thing is to ask Claude to interview you in some cases and to stress test your ideas so that everything is fact-checked at the end and you're not making any silly mistakes that are needless out there. This webinar was planned inside the vault, and I'm about to show you how to build it. By the way, it doesn't stop there. Claude can ping you, follow up on tasks, set it up with Slack, email, whatever it is that you use, even Telegram. You put a due date on a task in your vault, Claude sees it and it reminds you. It's not just a note-taking app, it's an active system that works with you. You can do this on a daily basis. This isn't a one-time setup, it's a daily workflow. If you're using this on a daily basis, then you're actually interacting with your notes, you're getting things done and things are moving along instead of just staying in your head, bothering you and annoying you because they're just accumulating all these ideas and thoughts without organizing them in some coherent, competent structure, which Claude as the agent layer helps you do in this case. So we're not going to be using this setup just as a note-taking application. It's really an active system, or it's meant to eventually become an active system that works for you. So this is just the beginning, but this is going to take 80% of that physical weight that you feel off of your shoulders. And the best part about all of this is you own all of it. The files are on your machine. There's no vendor lock-in, no subscription required for the core app besides Claude Code. So let's really quick cover the Obsidian CLI. So there is a CLI for Obsidian, and there's even a skill created by the CEO of Obsidian, as far as I understand, that helps you connect it with Claude Code. But the truth of the matter is, it is not essential. You don't need to use the Obsidian CLI, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you. Matter of fact, I've been using this setup for about 10 days now, and I've never used the Obsidian CLI. It's simply not essential for most builds. However, if you would like to set up the Obsidian CLI, you could always go to the help.obsidian.md/CLI and you can access the documentation. I asked Claude about this and the answer was simply no, it's not necessary at all. Claude Code already runs and writes the vault directly. The CLI is for Obsidian specific features like plugins and settings. And for what we're doing here, like organizing, brainstorming, and building, Claude Code handles everything through the file system. So again, it really depends on how much you're like super into this stuff. I know some of you guys are, but if you are, then the CLI is for you. If not, this is a simple and easy build that's just gonna take weight off your shoulder really quick. So I would just skip that. So don't worry about installing anything extra. We're just going to do Obsidian plus Claude Code, and that's the whole stack for today. So here is my Obsidian instance, right? So this is installed on my device. And what you're seeing here is a graph of every single note and document and group that I have here inside of Obsidian. Started up an instance of VS Code, which is what you see right here. And this is Claude Code right here. So I can type anything here for Claude Code, open up in the CLI, and that's just my favorite way to open it up. You can always spin up the traditional or more user-friendly, no-code friendly version of Claude Code. You can spin it up right here. And the first thing you need to do is like /log in, and then you can authenticate with your max plan, which is what you preferably would have to have enough context for it, and so that you don't run out of context during a session while you're organizing your brain. And that's pretty much it. So you start it off and because it's in the same IDE, you say, okay, take the files that are already there. And then here's what you need to know about me. So /init for initiate Claude MD. And then you essentially tell it everything about yourself. So let me go through and organize step-by-step for you. I called it Operation Organization. And step 1 was I created a new vault, just a folder, called it Org Op Ultra. Organization, Operation Ultra. Step 2, I took everything from Cowork's local folder, all those markdown context files that I've worked with on Claude Code for maybe about 5 chats for things that were immediate emergency. And I told Claude Code to ingest them into my vault with a clean structure. I set up the Trello MCP to get my Kanban board migrated into this new vault on Obsidian. I gave Claude access to my Trello board, so there's a process to do that, and I'll drop a link down in the description for you to follow along with, so you can do that yourself. It pulled everything into the vault and it organized it. And then I opened my Microsoft To-Do and fed Claude using a speech-to-text application, all of my to-dos that are relevant. And then I went ahead and picked up my legacy paper to-do list, and also using the speech-to-text application, I gave Claude Code all of the information that I wanted it to add into my vault. So this is what's called a brain dump. I explained everything and I relied on Claude to put together all the nitty-gritty details. Then I connected the Google Workspace CLI and I gave Claude access to my Google Drive, business and personal folders. It organized everything like magic, and seeing it happen before my eyes almost brought tears to my eyes. That's how good that felt. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys are going to feel that after today. The whole thing took about 2 hours. I went from scattered across 5 applications and some paper to-do notebooks to everything in one vault that both I and my AI can see, interact with, and constructively build on. So if you want to use the application, you still can. You can add things manually, and for the most part, it looks really good. It's quite simple markdown. By the way, if you ever decide to use the CLI, just go into the settings on the bottom left here. Here's where you check for updates if you want. And once you go down here, you can turn on the CLI, the command line interface, if that is something that you wish to do. So again, you can use the CLI if you want. That's always something that you can do. And you could use this graph to understand the connections. If you zoom in, you get more details, but you can understand the connections between your file. So this is likely a master file, for example, with a bunch of subfolders and markdown files in between. It's just, I mean, it's really nice to see everything visualized and connected together. It's like a map of neurons. It looks really, really cool. So there's another feature that's available in Canva, that's available in Notebook LM to an extent. But this right here, and you could use Claude Code to interact with it. You can create notes out of your actual board of notes. For example, you can get this, and then you can start making connections to other things here on the board. So you can either do that manually if you want, even more, if you're like more hands-on, or you can ask Claude Code to do that. And if you want to expand it via the CLI, there's also skills that can help you do that. But we're going to simplify a little bit, use it more as a alternative to a SQLite database. So you go here to obsidian.md before we get into the live build and create our vault. You come here, and again, I'm going to leave you the link in the description down below so you can follow along. You basically click get Obsidian for whatever your platform is. If you're on Mac, then you can download it from Mac, so on and so on. Now, they do have a paid tier. Understand that this is free. There's no vendor lock-in, but if you want to enable sync so that it works on your device, then that's where you sign up for sync, either on monthly or yearly. Alternatively, and there is a way to sync it and self-host it using what's, I believe, called CouchDB, but that's a whole different story and a whole different setup that we're not going to cover here. For now, believe me, it is more than enough to just download it on your machine and then using the local folder, as I'm going to show you, Claude Code as your agent, and we'll go from there. All right, so let me show you how you're going to do this from scratch. I'm going to build a new vault right now. So the first thing we're going to do is open up VS Studio Code. Now, if you don't have VS Studio Code, you have the link. I added it for you in the description below. Go ahead and click it. Choose whichever is more appropriate for your system. When you download that, you open up a new instance or just open up VS Code. Go ahead and click File, Open Folder, and then find that local folder. If you haven't already made it, now is a good time to create it. Throw your data in there, and then we're going to organize that using Claude Code. So the first thing you do is you copy the path, and then you come here, you click Open Folder, and then you give it the path, you click, and then you just select the folder, and then you are good to go. Now, to do this with Obsidian, on the other hand, the first thing you do is you click down here, you click Manage Vaults, and the same way you opened it with VS Code, you open it right here with Obsidian. You click Open, and then you choose the folder, and then, as you can see, everything is right here. Now, this is mock data, right? This is all mock data. This was by Claude Code, and this is how Claude Code can organize your vault as well. So it hyperlinks everything, it creates lists for you, it can checklists. We're gonna build all of that right now. So you can go ahead and minimize this, go ahead and launch the terminal. So go to terminal right here, and then click New Terminal. And once it comes up, let me show you actually another example of this because I already opened it. Once it comes up like this, you just type Claude space dangerously dash skip dash permissions. Don't use this last command, dangerously skip permissions, if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do, then that's what you should do. So you just tap dangerously skip permissions, and now Claude Code is launched. Alternatively, if you want the super easy way, just click this, but you need the extension, which you download from the extensions tab here on the left. Just type in Claude or Anthropic. You're going to see it. It has about 7 million downloads thus far, so you will know which one it is. And then from here, I have been using it in the CLI for a long time, so that's where I'm going to continue. And I really highly suggest that you guys use it in the CLI as well. It just gets you more benefits. There's a lot more features to use. Okay, that being said, I'm going to stop this terminal. I'm going to go back to the original one right here. Now, here's the most important part, and really the fun part. I'm not going to tell Claude what folders to make. I'm going to let Claude interview me and figure out what I need. Watch this. All right, so I have a prompt ready. I'm just going to paste it right here. And the notes for all of this and everything that we've worked on here are available on PPA, even for the free plan. So go ahead and join PPA. You can join for free. You can upgrade if you want, but you can find these notes in the PPA community. Go ahead and join us and join over 165 builders from all over the world who are just in the same position as you, were recently and started advancing due to what they've learned on PPA, either from me or other members. All right, so Claude has already begun asking me questions as I requested, and I already have some mock answers ready. So I'm just going to show you the process of how you can go back and forth using a speech-to-text software. So I'm going to fire mine up. I'm a freelance marketing consultant. I work with a small business on their social media strategy and content. A typical week for me is client calls on Monday, content creation on Tuesday through Thursday, and Fridays I try to work on my own stuff. I'm building an online course on social media marketing. I also handle my own marketing, invoicing, proposals, all of it, just me. So you want to notate the numbers here for Claude so you don't get lost and it doesn't get lost, although likely you're more likely to get lost than it. All right, so let's go and answer number 2. It's asking, what business ventures are you involved in? And it's reading the path on my machine, and it's reading a couple of company names that it saw from some of my previous ventures. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it one of my mock answers here. So my main thing is the consulting. I have 2 active clients right now, Greenleaf Co. They are suitable home good brands. I'm on a monthly retainer with them, doing their social media, and TechStart Inc., a SaaS startup. I'm doing their website copy and launch campaign. That's a fixed project. Then on the side, building this online course about social media marketing for small business owners. And I keep saying I need to redo my own website, but that keeps getting pushed back. Easy. All right, number 3. It is asking, do you work solo with a team or both? Do you manage people or collaborate with partner? Even though we've answered that before, I'm just going to give it a mock answer just to simulate what a full conversation with Claude would look like. Totally solo. It's just me. I've been thinking about hiring a VA for scheduling and basic graphics, but haven't really pulled the trigger yet. My clients have their own teams. Sarah at Greenleaf and Marcus TechStart. So I collaborate with them, but I don't manage anyone. It's a one-person operation. All right, now we're ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit send. So Claude here might ask us some follow-up questions. So it's a great context. This gives me a solid foundation. Let me save a few notes about you so I remember this in future conversations. Now let's talk about your current systems and pain points. What tools or apps are you currently using for notes, tasks, and project management? Think to-do list, note-taking, so on, so on. Very, very good comprehensive question. Number 5, where does this fall through the cracks? What's causing you the most chaos or stress right now? Examples might be forgetting, follow-up clients, so on, so on. Number 6, how do you currently keep track of client deliverables and deadlines? Do you have a system or is this mostly in your head? So these questions are incredible. They require you to sit back and really think deliberately and think hard about everything, because if you get this right, you have the opportunity in front of you to organize your life and business. So very obvious where this is headed. And you can almost feel the excitement through the air, right? It's happening. You can feel it. Everything is about to get super, super organized. So you get the point. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to do one more riff with the AI. And then for your case, you want to work on this deliberately and take your time. So this is something you want to sit down, think about in detail, make sure you answer everything, get it right, check your notes, then give the answers to the AI. And here's the thing, even if you miss something during this initial back and forth, you could always go back in and make updates later on. So let's go ahead and answer number 4. What tools and apps are you currently using? Okay, so this is embarrassing. I have stuff everywhere. Trello for project boards. I have a board for each client and one for the course, but I stopped updating them like 2 weeks ago. Google Keep for quick ideas. I'll be on the walk and jot something down, but then I'll never look at it again. Apple Notes on my phone for random brain dumps. Google Drive for client files, proposals, reports, and assets. But the folders are a mess. Tons of duplicates. Google Calendar for meetings and deadlines, but I don't always put things in there. And honestly, a lot of it is just in my head. I tried Notion for a while, but it felt like I was spending more time organizing Notion than actually doing work. So I canceled that. Then we're going to prepare 6. Wait, this is actually, so we have 4, 5, 6. So this one is 4. So let's do number 5. All right. So now that we have all our answers in, same thing. We're just going to continue this session back and forth. And here you're going to see what's happening. Claude is starting to extract the relevant information from my brain. It's going to do the same with you, as long as you're following along, of course, to figure out what structure that I actually need. It's not a one-size-fits-all template. It's your structure based on your life and your specific needs. So now Claude is supposed to propose a folder structure, numbered folders, categories based on my answers. And there it is right here. All right. So I like the look of this. So what I'm going to say is, looks good, build it. I want to point out, always try to read the insights that Claude Code gives you. They're really, really helpful and deliberate, and they really help you focus and learn new things, especially that they're always revolving around the tasks that you're working on. So I find them to be very, very useful. So this is why blah, blah, blah. I like this feature in Claude where they always give you insights that revolve around the project that you are specifically working on. They are very deliberate and they make a lot of sense and they're very, very useful. So it found the mock data that I had in there. So instead of tearing it down, it actually believes that it's a solid foundation here with real detailed content. So instead of tearing it down, it decided that's going to enhance what exists and add missing pieces. So this shows you what is likely to happen if you have brought in your folders from like Trello or Cowork or even Notion or something along those lines. This is likely what Claude would do. It would find what's good and keep it and enhance it if needed. It's also going to tell you what it's going to add, if anything, and it's going to tell you what it's going to build. So anything in red is what it took out. Anything in green and plus is essentially what it's adding. And right down here, where you see this green meter right here, this has to do with the context windows. As of recently, for Opus 4.6, by default, it comes with a 1 million context window. Before, you needed to be on the max 20x plan to be able to turn this on. Now, even if you're on the 5x max plan, you can turn this on, and it just comes like this out of the box, which is great. And this meter right here is just pretty much telling you that we have used up 7% of the 1 million context windows so far. Now, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and take a look inside of Obsidian to see what everything now looks like. Here it is. Everything organized neatly, everything numbered. You have an archive that's been added. You have references with a pricing guide, tools and applications. It even creates tables for you, categories, splitters, URLs, interconnectedness between everything. And if you click here, which is the open graph view, you can see your own graph and see how your data relates to everything else. You can have fun dragging it around. There's even a filter here. You can filter by groups, display, forces, and filters. This is what the vault looks like now. So it's done a beautiful job for us. It's organized everything. And if you don't feel super excited by now, I don't know what's going to make you feel excited. Like, this is incredible. It's done everything for us. And it's an agent layer interacting with our Obsidian. And the great thing is you can also see everything here in VS Studio Code. If you look to the left, the same folder structure from 00 to 60 can be seen in VS Studio Code. And here it is, same view right here. So now where you open your data, whether you want to continue working in this setup on VS Studio Code or you want to work in Obsidian, is completely up to your preference. Now, if you want to continue this session on VS Studio Code, you just go here to File, click Save, and then Save Workspace As, and then you save it wherever you want on your local machine to save it as a workspace, and then you can access it whenever you want. All you have to do is, if you come back to the terminal, what you want to do is, before you quit, you tap in the CLI /, then exit. All right, you ready for this? Don't panic. Boom. Now, right here, you look right here, it says resume this session with, and it gives you a session ID. What we're going to do is we're going to copy that. We're going to go right here, and then we're going to click the little plus to add a file. We're going to call it notes. And then right here, we're going to type in session ID, and we're going to type in what we need to put into the terminal. Now we can resume this by simply putting this in. But if we want to dangerously skip permissions, which means to tell Claude, hey, it's okay, you don't need to ask for my permission every single time you want to check something or do something, just do your thing and forget about asking me, then we type in -- dangerously skip permissions. Now you cannot omit the dash, you have to add it and you're good to go. So what we do now is we copy the whole thing right here, Control C, Control V, you can see it right here, and then we tap enter, and now it's going to resume that session and get us back on track. There it is. We're back in the same session, back from where we left off. It's that simple. And now for the magic. Watch what happens when Claude Code has all your Vault context. So let's ask Claude about tasks. What are my priorities for this week? All right, so it turns out we have an overdue task for today. We have to email Dana about the SaaS social audit. This is 15 to 20K sitting on the table, and it's been 3 days since the coffee meeting. This is your #1 priority today. Notice the tone and the personality it uses when it talks to you. It has the tone of a helpful assistant that is looking out for your best interests. Now, where you can continue off with this is you can ask it to navigate to files, to summarize files, to read relevant notes, brainstorm using your context. And then you can even go to GitHub and get repo links and say, hey, look at this, add this to the notes, to the relevant section. You don't even have to tell it where exactly to add it. You could just say add it to the relevant section or suggest a section to add it to, and it's going to go ahead and do that for you. So it is quite an intelligent agentic layer on top of your database or Obsidian Vault that is more of a helpful assistant as well. So it is not like any other tool out there, and it's just such a flexible and versatile tool to use. So what I showed you today is just the foundation, but this goes way further. The piece that's missing from what we built today is automation. Having the system work for you when you're not sitting at the keyboard. Here's what I mean. You have tasks in your Vault with due dates. Wouldn't it be nice if something checked those tasks every morning and pinged you? Hey, you have 5 overdue tasks, for example. And that's exactly what you can now find in PPA. So putting together a course at the moment, which is going to be up very, very soon, on how you can build a version of your own version of OpenClaw, but it runs completely on your Claude Code subscription. And you can connect it to your Slack, you can connect it to Telegram, you can connect it to WhatsApp, or even more chat applications. So you're going to love what's coming up next. One more thing I want to mention about canvases. Essentially, a canvas is a file just like JSON. And Claude Code can actually create that for you programmatically. So you can say, map out my project plan, and Claude is going to build you a visual canvas inside of your Vault. You can also connect your Vault to Cowork, your OpenClaw instance, to layer on some more automation. Now, some of you might find repos online that install Python packages, background libraries, and setup scripts and all that kind of stuff to connect Obsidian and Claude Code. You don't need any of that. What I showed you today is the simple approach. A folder, markdown files, Claude Code, and that's it. Keep it simple. You can always add complexity later, but start with what works right out of the box. Today, I showed you the basics. In PPA, we go deeper. So let's go over everything really quick. Quick summary. First, download Obsidian. It's free. Obsidian.md. Step 2, create a new Vault. Pick a folder on your machine. Step 3, create a basic structure, even just 5 to 6 number of folders, dashboard, business project, archive. That's enough to start. Step 4, open that folder in VS Code with Claude Code. That's it. Claude can now read and write to your Vault. No CLI or fancy packages needed. Start brain dumping. Open a speech-to-text app and just talk. Tell Claude to organize what you said. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to know Markdown. You don't need any technical knowledge. If you can talk, you can do this. You can recreate what took me 2 hours, actually. It's probably going to take you less because you've seen the blueprint. This is what organizing the chaos in your brain should look like. Simple, straight to the point, very easy to access. You don't need fancy SaaS that's been ravaging the market for a long time, offering you like a second brain or whatever it is. This is more than enough. And the great thing about it, Obsidian is free. You only have to pay for a Claude Code subscription. If you liked today's webinar, then you're going to love the up and coming newsletter. Everything that I'm building is really overhauling because I'm coming in from the no-code SaaS app space. That's right. I was one of the SaaS people that I speak against today, but I've seen the light and now I understand the power of Claude Code and what it can do to help you and help others organize their lives and businesses. This is just scratching the surface. What's inside PPA and the newsletter is going to be extremely valuable for your everyday life and your business. PPA members get access to the systems and frameworks behind all of this. The Claude Code Fundamentals course just dropped 7 modules. VIP members get the advanced builds, live sessions, and direct access to me. Next week in webinar number 3, we're going to build internal applications or custom internal applications using Claude Code. So I'll show you this entire workflow from start to finish and how to host them. I hope you guys enjoyed this and got a lot of value from it. I'm Ned Malky. Remember, don't buy it, build it, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.